This is Juan, and today I'm going to do some crafting. What I have here is a composition notebook. It's already nicely bound. Got a heavy cover, sewn in pages. It's usually pretty affordable, $1 or less. I paid 88 cents for this at the local store. And next we've got some distressed leather printed paper that I got at the local hobby store. 69 cents a page. I got 2 of them. I think the first thing that we're going to do is glue our paper to the front and back of the notebook. So first, I've got just a regular Elmer's glue stick. I really just want to attach the paper to the front and back of the binder. I don't need it to stick really hard because we're going to put an additional cover over the top of it. But we want to make sure that we get glue around the edges pretty good, because paper always wants to come off on the edges. I'm going to go a little bit farther into the black paper tape binding. Try to get pretty even here on the cover of the composition book, so it sticks nicely. Let me give another pass there on the top and bottom, around the edges. Okay. So now our paper has got some interesting rough spots around the corners here. Let me show that there. Yeah, some distressing here. I want to try to use that on our notebook. So we're going to place that. I want this edge to be pretty close here, but I'm not going to cut it first. I'm going to glue it in place, then I'm going to go back with an Xacto knife and trim it out nicely. I always have bad experiences with trying to measure things and then cut them and have them be exactly right. So we're going to glue in place first. Okay, so now we've got both sides covered with our decorative paper. Now I'm going to put it under some books or something pretty heavy, press it in place while the glue dries. Alright, so we've got the paper glued down onto the notebook. Looks like we've got a lot extra on this side. So I think what we'll do is we'll get out a paper cutter and do some trimming before we do the final cutting on this piece. I like the paper cutter because it's pretty good about being able to get in tight places. So we'll take a lot of this excess out. Alright, so we've got the rough cut made here. Kind of reduced it to a size we can handle it. I have our cutting mat, a metal ruler, our project, and this is the small size Xacto knife. Well, what I'm going to do first is we're going to make another pretty rough cut along the spine of the notebook. I'm using the metal ruler as a cutting guide for the Xacto knife. So here we go. Alright, so we're getting closer to the leather part of the cover being the right size for this. And I've got it laid out flat. What we're going to do is use our metal ruler again as a guide on the edge of the cardboard cover for the book, and then cut with the Xacto knife. Alright, this should be our finished edge on this side. Yeah, nice and flush. Some people may like to leave a little bit more of the paper so they can fold it over so the edge doesn't show, but I want to show the cardboard cover on this, so we're going to cut it flush. Alright, I've done the other side off video. You can see we've got our simulated leather paper. It looks pretty good on the top. It's coming together. The next thing that I want to do is to make a medieval style book, old time. To go with that is sort of a binding like you might find on an old time book around this part of the cover. And what I'm going to use is this black duct tape. We will cut a piece roughly the size we need. Okay, now we're about ready to put our binding on. Make sure we're in the middle. We're along that line that we made. Trying to get all the bumps out of both sides. And down the middle. So, that looks good. We will take the Xacto knife and carefully, since we're not using the ruler, trim the excess duct tape. Okay, so what's the plan? We're going to take some strips of our black duct tape that we're simulating an old-time binding with and kind of measuring a few out to cut in place. So we've cut our duct tape corners for one side of the cover, and we're going to place them. I want a little bit on the edge of both of these. So there's one, and let's actually cut that. Because on this, I am going to leave a little bit extra to fold over the front cover. Maybe a few millimeters there. And the same on the other side. You see, I'm putting the ruler on the part that's going to be wasted, that I'm not going to use, so I don't interfere with the stickiness of the part that we are going to use. Alright. Okay, next we're going to do the fold over. And since we have two different angles and a corner, I'm actually going to make some relief cuts. Where the corner starts, we're going to use the knife, cut there, On the other side, where the corner starts, we will cut there and try to divide that angle there, straight out. Alright, let's see if they cut. Okay, so you can consider this done maybe, if you didn't want to do anything over the cover. We've made a nice binding over our leather textured paper. We've got something to keep the corners in line. If you didn't like the corner detail, you could eliminate that and just put a fine strip of the duct tape all the way around to hold it together. And yes, I did finish the back. Looks good, but we're going to go one more step with it. What we got here is a very thin laminating material. It's in like a 30-foot roll. Duck brand, peel and stick. As you can see, it is usually sold as a drawer liner in the kitchen section of the store. But I like to use it for this because it's in a big roll. It's oversized. I can cut the pieces I want. It's nicely marked on the back with inch marks. But we're going to put a continuous laminated cover on top of that simulated medieval notebook. Got our handy dandy straight cutter here. I'm going to feed our laminating material through that. And just for some rough measurement, I know that I need to cut it right between the 9 and 10 inch mark. Alright, next I've taken our continuous piece of laminating and I folded it in half. Used our metal ruler to put that fold in there pretty tight. If I had more time on this, I might press the ends under something heavy so it laid out nice and flat while we're working with it. Okay, so how are we going to apply the laminating? Well, we're going to peel off the backing. To the middle of this item. Go to that fold we made and do each half separately. All right. Trying to keep it very flat, very smooth. I'm going to put another fold in the paper so it wants to stay back, so I can access that middle piece. And so I can see on my cutting board kind of where the middle is. All right. Then we're going to rotate. All right. Now, pull that laminating around. Peel the backing off nicely. Smoothing it out as we go. May have to pull it back a little bit. Get any big bubbles out. And there we go. And all there is to do is take this blunt end of my Xacto knife and run it across all those little air bubbles to get them out. Alright, just to finish this up, so when we fold over here, secure the outer covering, This side looks like it's ready to fold over. I believe we are ready to do the sides. Keep it nice and tight. Go to the top. Get all those air bubbles out, and the bottom. Alright, I'll finish the other side and we'll come back. Okay, now all we have left is those tabs we cut as a relief for the binding. And we're just going to take those off with the Xacto knife. And that should be this project pretty much done. Let's have a look. So yeah, a sort of nice laminated, quick, cheap, medieval style notebook. My only other note is after you're completely done, you might want to press it under something heavy, like a stack of books for a while, just to make sure all the different adhesives we used are going to stick nicely.